choosing paint for a project boils down to more than just the color you want to apply to your pieces. You also have to consider the paint finish because it determines where you'll use the paint, the intensity of the color, and how you'll take care of the surface. There are several types of paint finishes. Choosing the proper one for your particular project requires some basic knowledge about each of them. The main distinction between satin and matte paints is their sheen. Sheen is the amount of light reflecting off the paint surface after it dries. Matte paints reflect no light, therefore, they do not have a noticeable shine. They exhibit the paint's actual color since there is no impact from light. Furthermore, the little light reflection will not draw too much attention to your surface. Therefore, you can use matte paints on flawed surfaces, and the imperfections won't show. On the other hand, satin paints reflect just a bit of light, about 30%, creating a gentle glow after the paint dries. The slight light reflection causes their color to look more intense than matte paints with the same color. What is satin paint finish? Satin paint finishes are part of the gloss paint products. They are at the lowest end of the spectrum. Paints with a satin finish have more resins and pigments. However, the resin ratio doesn't surpass the pigment ratio by a great deal. Therefore, they reflect very little light. When you touch a satin paint finish, it has the chalky feel of a low gloss finish. At the same time, it has a subtle silky smoothness like a slightly waxed surface. What is matte paint finish? A matte paint finish is a finish with the lowest gloss percentage. It has a low resin pigment ratio. Therefore, reflects very little light when dry. A matte finish appears velvety because of the higher pigment ratio. However, its surface feels a bit rough and chalky when you brush your hand over it. Due to its low light reflection, a matte paint finish doesn't draw too much attention to the painted surface. Therefore, you can use it on a surface with imperfections, and it will hide the bumps perfectly. Satin vs matte paint finish. Knowing the individual characteristics of satin and matte finishes helps. However, it is better to compare specific major factors directly, especially when choosing one or the other. The following is a deeper look into how each finish stands out. I'll compare everything from appearance to the best places to use each and why. Appearance: matte and satin finishes appear almost similar, but the main distinguishing factor is light reflection. A satin paint finish reflects some light, emitting a slight glow. In contrast, a matte finish has no sheen at all. It does not reflect light even if you shine a light directly on the painted surface. Since a satin finish reflects some light, the light hitting its surface always influences its color, especially if it bounces off another object with a different color. This characteristic often causes the paint to look lighter or darker depending on the conditions. Sometimes, when a differently colored surface is near a satin finished wall or furniture piece, you will notice visual color variations on the finish. Satin and matte finishes may have different sheen levels, but they always look smooth once applied. Satin paint has a slightly chalky appearance, but it feels silky like a wax surface. On the other hand, matte colors have a more chalky appearance with a rougher texture than satin. Durability. When it comes to durability, satin finishes take the cake. The higher amount of resins or binders in their formula makes them more rigid, allowing them to easily resist scratches, dings, and stains. They also hold up well during cleaning and won't wear out quickly even if you scrub them lightly to get off the dirt. Coverage. Matte finishes offer better coverage because they have more pigment. This feature increases the odds of covering your surface with a single coat. As a result, you get perfect coverage with less work, less product, and less money. The fewer pigments in satin finishes sometimes mean that you cannot cover a surface efficiently with one coat. Therefore, you'll use more paint, and it would take twice the time to finish your project than if you use matte paint. Maintenance. When it comes to maintenance, both satin and matte paints have their highs and lows. For instance, matte finishes aren't durable, so you will have to deal with wear-related issues more frequently. Moreover, cleaning can potentially remove the finish from the surface. On the bright side, touching up a matte finish is super easy. You cannot even tell where you touch it up most of the time. You can paint around the area that needs a touch-up without much preparation, and the new paint will blend in seamlessly with the old color. Contrastingly, satin paints are easier to clean, and you won't risk exposing them. Ease of use. Matte paint is easier to use, especially during application. Since it doesn't have a sheen, you won't leave noticeable lines even if the application is uneven. It is also hard to notice when you accidentally cross over some painted spots. You can apply matte paints quickly with the standard W application technique without worrying about creating inconsistencies. With satin finishes, crossovers are easily noticeable because they cause inconsistencies in the sheen. You may see streaks forming in the spots where there was overlapping, which sometimes makes the W technique a poor fit. Cost. In general, matte paints cost less than satin paints. For instance, when you look at both finishes from the same brand and product line, you'll see a difference of about $5 per gallon. This amount is average because you may find a difference of up to $7 in other brands. If you're tackling a single small project, it will require only one container of paint. The $5 is easy to ignore. However, the price difference goes up for larger projects that require more paint. Uses. Usually, you can use any paint you like for any project. However, some finishes are better suited for some areas than others if you want them to last longer. Satin paint finishes work well for high-traffic areas on pieces you frequently touch and move around. They also perform well in kitchens and bathrooms where you require a bit of moisture resistance. A satin finish is better if you like to entertain guests or allow your children to run around the living room. It is also perfect if you have active pets like dogs and cats. We are going to end this video right away. If you have any query or information to share, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching.